What's up, guys? Nethervvoid here with more World of Tanks tank guides or strategy series, whichever you prefer for you today. And today I'm going to be doing IS-6, which is a great tier 8 Russian heavy gold tank. It's pretty awesome. At first, when it came out, I didn't like it because I thought, wow, the gun's pen is ridiculously stupid at 175. But over time, I've grown to like it as I bought it when it was, I think, 30% off. For a special sale. Might even been 50% off, but I'm thinking 30% off. So I thought this tank used to be 7,500 gold. It does get special matchmaking. The pen is very low on it, so I thought maybe it did get the 7,500 gold purchase price, just like the Super Pershing. But it looks like currently it's 11,800. So this is a lot more than I used to think it was. I know the T-34 is 12,000, and I think the low is a similar 12,000 or so gold. So when people say, well, which do you prefer, IS-6, low, or T-34? I think IS-6, in my opinion, is better because it does get special matchmaking. So it rarely even sees tier 9s. Usually it's the top of the tier, tier 8, and that is because this gun is pretty bad at 175 pen. The low and T-34 both have over 200 pen guns, so that's why this tank gets special matchmaking, because it cannot penetrate high tier tanks armor. So anyway, because of that reason, I kind of feel like the IS-6 is probably the best out of the three heavy gold tanks. I have all three of them. I just prefer it because it is so bouncy and stuff, and how you're going to play this tank is be very aggressive with it, especially if you're top tier. Drive right up to enemies. Kind of screw them up, drive around them. The tank actually has pretty good mobility. Just get behind enemy lines and stuff like that. You can be really ballsy in this tank because you're going to be getting pretty much going to be high tier most of the time, and the armor's really good even for a tier 8. So you're going to be able to bounce off of tier 7s and 6s no problem. Tier 8 guns, you're going to have a problem with tier 8 tanks. Just try to be a little cautious and take those guys out. But in general, just be really aggressive with this tank. That's how I like to play it. And make the enemy make bad mistakes. When you get up in people's faces, they're not used to that, so they tend to make mistakes, and that's what you're going to try to do with this tank, is force people to make mistakes. So it is $1,000 per shot though, so make sure, just like all the other tier 8 gold heavies, make sure you take your time with your shots. It's not cheap like the Super Pershing is with its cheaper shells, or the YOG 88 with its cheaper shells. So as you can see, 1,025 apiece. So now let's get into the stats here. 1,550 hit points, pretty standard for tier 8s. It's nothing special. 700 horsepower engine, pushing 52 tons. Not bad for a heavy tank. Let's see, 15 to 1 power to weight ratio would be, I think, 750. So that's right up there. It's probably like 13 to 14 power to weight ratio. Pretty good for a heavy tank, especially tier 8. And that's why I say this thing has pretty good mobility. 35 speed limit, you're going to get to 35, no problems. I was actually doing it in the sand in one of the videos. I'm not even sure I'm going to show it to you, one of my replays, I mean. But 35, you're definitely going to get to that. 26 traverse with 24 turret traverse for a grand total of 50. Not the greatest, not bad, but really not that great. The traverse is pretty slow. Make sure you use backing up a little bit too, not just straight up turning to try to cut people off if they're trying to circle you. The armor is actually really good on this tank. 100 hull armor on the front and sides, and then 60 in the back, and then 150 on the turret, front and side, remember that, and 100 in the back, which is pretty good. Now you might think 100 is not very good hull armor, but this is a 65-degree angle right here with effective armor of 237 of effective armor, 200 against AP shells. So pretty nice armor in the front, and that's why I was saying this thing's basically a ding magnet. It's a really awesome tank. Let's see here. So 350 view range, that's actually a little bit low. I think the T-34 has the 400 view range as well as the low. But again, you're going to be getting in people's faces, especially since the gun on this thing's not very accurate, so you can't really snipe too well with it. 440 meter signal range on the radio is actually pretty bad. Most radios at tier 8 are 700 or so, so you could have problems communicating across the map depending on what other people have. If they have tier 7 or above tanks, they're probably going to be fine because they probably do have the 700 meter radio. So let's get into weak spots here. So if you're looking at this thing straight on right here, the weak spots are the lower plate, which it's 120 millimeters at 50 degrees angle. So that's about 170 for AP shells. So you can hit it pretty good right in this lower plate. It's actually very small though, so it's kind of a hard target to hit, and you can hold down pretty well with it. It's pretty easy to get the lower plate hidden since it's so small. The driver hatch is a big weakness. It's a lot like the old IS-4 used to be, with the driver hatch as the weakness. This thing has about 180 penetration to pen. It's actually 90 millimeters of armor at a 65-degree angle, so 180 will pen this. Up close and personal, it's pretty easy to pen, especially if they're at a slight angle downward. It's really easy to go through that driver hatch. Another weakness is this driver viewport, although I'm not sure if it's a non-damage crit hit or not, but you can go ahead and shoot it there. Also, this part of the mantlet right here, and also this part of the turret is very flat, and so it's kind of easy to pen there. Anywhere else on the turret, and you can see it's pretty angled, you're not going to go through that turret. You're not going to go through the mantlet. Except right around the gun is got a pretty big hole right there, so you should be able to go through there. Now you can also hit the flat spots right, or this angles right here of the cupolas. They're really tiny though. They're kind of hard to hit. I kind of think this is a pen no damage, and these are also, these viewports are pen no damage. So you can hit it there as well, but you will not damage the tank. So it's really hard to get cupola shots on this thing, and then anywhere else on the turret, pretty much not gonna get a hit. So what you don't want to do with this tank is you don't want to angle it, because see how it flattens out this side right here? When you angle this thing like you would a normal tank, it makes this cheek really easy to pen. It's like 100 millimeter AP will pen that. So what you want to do is just angle it a slight amount, like about like that, just a tiny bit, really trying to protect that driver plate, but also not give off too much of that cheek armor. So, you know, just a tiny bit of angling, just like you would do on the IS-4. It has a similar armor shape there. So that's pretty much the weaknesses for this tank. If you're shooting the turret in the side, make sure to go for the flat spot right here, because if you remember, it has 150. So if you shoot here or here with the angling that's going on, you have a really hard. You're gonna have a really hard time penning. So the flattest part of the turret armor is right here. That's where you want to shoot for. Another thing to note about the side is on an IS-3, this is spaced armor right here. So this is where you wouldn't want to shoot on the IS-3 from the side, and so you'd shoot the IS-3 right here. Well, actually it's reversed for the IS-6. It does not have spaced armor up on this upper part, so you can shoot it right through the side here. And this is actually its spaced armor, this skirt, so it's a lot harder to pen where you would normally shoot a tank in the track right there. So it's a little bit weird here. So definitely shoot it right here in the side. That's actually one of the great weak spots. Another place I like to shoot is right here in the corner. You'll hit the track and go right into side armor right here. It's real easy to pen. So that's why I was saying be careful with your angling. Put a rock or a house right here or something like that is a good way to go. So those are the weak spots. Let's get into modules. There's really not much to talk about. We kind of already talked about it because it's a gold tank. You can't really upgrade it. So 700 horsepower engine. There's the turret. And the gun, 175 pen, not very good. You definitely need to pick out weak spots. If you're facing T-34s, if their armor's flat, they probably won't be able to go through the top plate. It's very hit or miss. If they're kind of downhill a little bit, it flattens out their top plate, and it's a lot easier to get through it. So just be careful where you're shooting with this 175 pen. Again, not a very accurate gun at .46, so you need to either be close, or sometimes it's got a weird accuracy to it. It's hard to explain. You're going to see it in the video a little bit, but definitely I would get close. The damage is really nice at 390. You pretty much can one-shot almost any SPG, which is great. Arty, for those who don't know what an SPG is. It actually reloads fairly quickly. I have an under 10-second reload, and that's with the rammer and the vent here, and then my crew, not even having brothers in arms. As you can see, this last guy doesn't have 100% yet. So the gun, not the greatest. It does pack a big punch. It does reload pretty quick. I mean, it's pretty average, I guess. But it seems like pretty good little gun. Now, let's get right into, there's no research obviously, so we're going to get right into equipment. This is pretty standard, vent, rammer, and I get vert stab. I don't have one right now because I just bought a lot of gold tanks and stuff, and I have not had a chance to buy equipment. So I would put a vert stab there though, especially when you're in people's faces, you're moving around, you're juking and jiving a lot. That vert stab's going to keep your reticle really small. So ammo, I always put 4 HE unless my gun has like 250 pen or above, and the rest AP. I don't think, well, the gold round, let's see what we get for gold rounds here. 217 pen for the gold round, so if you are a person that likes to use gold rounds for clutch shots, you could put a few gold rounds in there, and then you have your pen above 200, and you can surprise a few people with that. Standard rack of consumables here for me at tier 7 and above. Really nothing to say there. You don't really catch fire in this tank a lot, so going for the gold fire extinguisher is kind of pointless in this tank. The crew, I actually loaded up my IS-7 crew here. As you can see, it's red, which means they're not trained for the IS-6, but the IS-6 will take any Russian heavy crew as if they can drive the IS-6 no problem. You don't have to retrain them. This tank is great for training up crews when you're trying to grind out cash. So, as you can see, I have my IS-7 crew in here. IS-7 actually has 5 members, so I actually swap out the loaders depending on who has the higher amount of skill here. So you can see, actually I've got my lowest guy in there. This guy almost has Brothers in Arms, but this guy does not. And so, because I've been working on those guys, I had to redo all their skills and stuff. Another thing is, when you look at this guy's file, if you're going to drop this stuff, I'm not going to use gold. You can check to see if you can get both skills unlocked here at 100% when you retrain these guys. Because I want to get Brothers in Arms, which is a perk, and it requires 100%, and then 6 Cents, which is also another perk, which also requires 100%. That's why I'm not retraining this guy or picking his skill yet, because I'm just waiting for this to both say 100%. Something like this, 2 times 100% plus some kind of leftover third. So that's kind of the way you know when it's time to actually drop their skills. So I'm not going to talk really about skills. You really need to look at whatever heavy tank you have of choice that you're training your crew here. If you want, just look at the IS-7 video. It's probably pretty good. Another video that I've done more recently is probably for heavy tanks. Just look at the previous one I did in the list. Just go to the playlist and find the most recent heavy tank where I talked about crew. There's no point in talking about crew on these gold tanks because you should have an equivalent heavy tank from that nation to go with your gold tank. That's really the best way to pair these to get together. So anyway, that's crew, which is really not much to talk about. Let's get this thing in some games, and I'll show you what I'm talking about here. The first game here is a great game that I had on steps. This is actually an 8.5. This actually could be... yeah, this is 8.5. And I'm going to show you just how bouncy this freaking tank is, and also how you can use that 400 damage gun to really wreck the enemy. So, I'm going to come over here. This is Encounter. I'm going to do a little bit of back hacking, like I like to call it, which is something from PlanetSide 1, if you ever played that. I don't know if they... talk about backhacking in PlanetSide 2. I don't think it's as big a deal, but I don't know. I don't really play PlanetSide 2, so. Coming around here, trying to get in a position. Again, going at roughly 30 miles an hour, pretty steady. Gets me in a position pretty well. So I'm moving up a little bit here. Okay, KV-1S. So he shoots at me, and he hits me. Let's see where he hit me. Right in that lower plate. I think that's pretty much lower plate armor right there. So kind of a lucky shot on his part. He really should be bouncing on me from there. And I'm hiding most of my lower plate anyway. Doing a little bit of side scraping. Not sure how much it's just going to help against this guy because I'm not sure what he can see of me. So he pops out again. And I miss. Again, this is not a very accurate gun. 200 meters. Missing is not very unusual. So I'm just kind of moving my turret around to make sure he bounces off whatever he's trying to shoot me in. Maybe the cupola, not really sure. President Not Sure. If you know what that movie is, you're pretty awesome. So just kind of waiting him out right here, waiting for him to pop out again. So I decided to move up. There's a lot of action right here. T-34 sitting out in the open. Now remember what I said about the upper plate? Boom! 400 damage. And that's because when he pops out again, I'll show you what I'm talking about here. So see, his tank is a little bit angled down, so that armor that you're looking at right there is actually not as potent as you would think it would be. I mean, it's not very good to begin with, but it's really not good when they're angled down like that. Reduces that angle of their armor. Same thing goes with the IS-6. If you're going downhill and someone's shooting, they're going to have a way better angle at your armor, so you got to be careful. KV-1S still really being a pain in the butt right here. Another T-34 fairly out in the open right there. Right in his face. Right now I've racked up 1,300 damage. Not too bad for 3 shots. So watch this. This is one of those weird gunshots that goes right where the bullet line is. Right on target. And it actually happens about once a game in this tank at least. And this was before 8.6 where they made guns more accurate. So it was kind of always a little bit what WTF, you know. So boom, another shot into the T-34. Remember, you really want to get rid of any T-8 tanks in the game because those are the only guys usually that can do any kind of damage to you, that can pen your armor. Again, the KV-1S trolling. Really basically holding us back. But no problems here. This guy's got to stop the aim. T-34s have really bad aim times. So you can see somebody hit me but didn't do really any damage to me. I've only really had one hit on me. That was from the KV-1S. I've dinged a few shots at this point. Remember, it's a very dingy tank. Now, we're down 2 tanks. Looks like they've got cap pretty much taken care of. Now, if they would have sat in the cap right there, they would have won the game. But they decide not to. Now, could also be because my radio is pretty weak and I can't see guys on the other side of the map. That could very well be. Nice shot right in that IS-6's side. Again, you don't want to give off side armor like that. That's how you're going to get jacked up. I think the KV-1S actually got the second shot on me there. Let's look real quick where he hit me. Lower plate. Yeah, that's going to get you every time. So this other IS-6 also getting messed up because he's coming out there sideways. I don't generally suggest to do that. A Pershing, again, angled down on his upper plate is a great place to hit that tank. I mean, they're pretty weak anyway, but... So IS-6 getting ballsy right here. Trying to get him bounced off the upper area right there. Trying to get him in the hatch. Although his hatch is so angled, this 175 pen probably wouldn't go through. So now they've got tons of tanks on cap. And right through the hatch there, so nice shot. Probably because he was angled down a little bit relative to my position. We've cleared everybody out on this side. Took a long time though. Probably had too many guys hanging back. I don't know how messed up these guys are. Can't see them? Where are they? It's interesting. Okay. Oh, they're in front of me. They're not too messed up. They probably should have been moving a little bit. Getting out there a little bit. I'm going to fast forward this. We're basically just driving over to the cap. Let me show you the speed though. Let's go at 1 times. So you see I'm getting up in the 30s right here. On soft ground, I believe this is considered soft ground, 35 right there. Slight uphill if I look at it, actually. So, pretty fast moving heavy tank. Not too bad, really. Definitely a lot like the IS line. So let's fast forward a tiny bit. Alright, we're coming up. They've basically cleared the cap. I can't believe those guys didn't win. They should have just sat all 5 of those tanks on the cap and won. You know, I mean... You can read the mini-map, you kind of know what's going on, you should have just sat on the cap to win. People got greedy and decided to kill people. So again, right there, remember how I talk about your gun is lower than the video, okay, than the camera. See how it looks like I got a shot on that guy? But my gun is a lot lower, I could be shooting at dirt like you just saw me do there. So you got to be a little bit careful with those shots. That cost me 1,000 credits right there and I get nothing out of it. So you can see 9.8 seconds to reload this thing, and boom, you're dead. So I've killed 4 guys, 4,200 damage, really nice game. Took about half of my health and damage, and did really well. Let's look again at where I got hit. Only 2 times. Lower plate. I actually dinged a shot off the lower plate, probably because it was slightly angled, and then right in the lower plate again as I was coming up. It looks like I got a ding on the top plate there. And a ding off the side armor because it was angled. Again, this tank is very bouncy. I think you're going to like it. Let's get another game. The second game is actually on the sand, so I wanted to show you the speed on the sand. And also, it is a game that I had platooned with Madge and Joe from DGA. Joe in the SU-122-44, another gold Russian Tier 7 TD. It's actually a pretty cool tank. I just bought it when it was on sale, 50% off. So we're just coming into position here. We decided to go left, which is good because most of our team decided to go right. Now I wanted to show you a game where I'm being very aggressive in the IS-6, especially since I'm top tier. You can't do this if there are Tier 9s in the game or lots and lots of Tier 8s. Now there are quite a lot of T-34s and a low there that can definitely jack me up no matter what angle I'm at. But still, this works fairly well since I'm top tier. So not a very good shot right there. Again, not a very accurate tank. Plus, I should have shot a little bit more in front of the guy. So, SU-100, trying to get set up on this line. But instead, okay, he's dead as well. Looks like DGA's tearing it up right here. So, instead of going the normal route where we would go around this little loop right here, or around that corner, I decided to cut in right here and go inside of that dune instead. So this is going to throw the enemy off completely. And also, I do need to worry about my sides, but not so much unless I'm getting shot at by tier 8. So it kind of depends on what's over here to see if this is going to work well. But if I really book it, now there's the SU-100. I can get into the city before anybody can be shooting at my flank. So, coming up to give this guy a big kiss. Boom! And did I hit the guy? I don't think no, I didn't. I didn't hit the guy. Again, not very accurate. Even at 150 meters, you need to at least wait for the reticle to come in. But getting the spot on that guy and kind of messing him up really helped. Now, with this guy, I'm just going to drive right into his face. There are no tier 8s over here that I can see. Looks like all their tier 8s are over down there as if it was an encounter map, really. They're going on the K line there. So I'm just going to come up and bully this guy. 3601, very good tank. Very good armor, but not enough for a 175 damage gun, especially when the side armor right there. So there's a ding. I wish this mod pack actually recorded how much damage you, potential damage you were taking. Now this guy does not have the biggest gun. Doesn't have the short 88. I don't know if he's using the long 70 or what. So he's dead. This side's pretty much crushed. We've pretty much encircled the C7 group here. Trying to see if I can come back and help these guys out and shoot some guys in the back, especially with that 175 pen. It does help out a lot, especially against a super Pershing. You don't want to be shooting a super Pershing in the front plate with a 175 pen gun. It's just not going to go well. You need to shoot him on the side of the back. So I'm on desert here. I'm still going almost 30 on a flat terrain. Super's dead. I figure, you know what? You guys have got that TD. I'm going to go for base. We already have a T-32 posted up at the bridge there, basically at G8, crossing over into enemy territory. And for some reason, they were taking an awful long time to kill our tanks over there on the 1-2 line now. That's a lot of firepower. They got all the T-34s and the low over there. They should be tearing it up. So there's the Hellcat, I do believe, on the minimap. Can't see him yet, but I'm getting the information radioed back to me probably from the T-32 there. So I'm coming straight in on the cap here to put some pressure on the enemy. It's an even score, and it looks like their big tanks are still around. Oh, there goes one of the low. The KV-5 did kill the low there. But I'm going to put some pressure on. I got DGA guys are coming from the north, and I'm coming from the south, basically. So they have one Arty, a Hellcat, and then those tier 8s. This could be pretty bad. Now, I got a ding off the Hellcat. I think that was on flat chic armor as well. He almost hit me. That's actually where it's a little bit thicker, where that fold is. Got kind of lucky. He probably could pen me on flat chic armor. So, obviously, I'm not too worried about angling. I'm actually angled for these guys a little bit. Let me check my angling real quick. Not the greatest angling there. I probably would not angle as much as that. Don't do that. That's too much. There we go. That's a little bit better. Right there. Right there. That's kind of how you want to be angled. Just a little bit off-center like that. So I'm kind of waiting for somebody to pop up. Somebody gets spotted here. Looks like DGA on the ridge there trying to spot people. There's the Hellcat. Spotted by our Hellcat, I believe. You can see DGA has 7 kills so far. Pretty nice. Now I'm getting jacked up by the T-34s right here. There's a bounce, probably off the IS-6. T-34 gets another hit. These are just guesses, but pretty sure. The T-34 gun's going to go right through you, almost no matter what angle you have. Also lows. The T-34s and the lows are usually going to be your biggest threats. So the Hellcat takes out our Hellcat, but now he's wide open for a big derp to the face. And there's their arty. Again, here's a weird shot where it's right on the bullseye there at 178 meters. So boom, he's dead. Now we have the Brothers in Arms medal. I can't remember what it's exactly called, where everybody in your platoon gets at least 3 kills. It's a super award or super medal, elite medal, whatever they call it. Doesn't really matter. T-34 trying to push up in the base to see who's here. Trying to get some shots on the guys on the ridge, I think, trying to spot them. But lo and behold, I'm behind him now. T-34 has really, really bad armor unless he's hull down. Now, he did just kill the 3601, which is not really an achievement or a feat. And boom, you're dead. So he's gone. T-34 and IS-6 pretty messed up. Looking really good on our side of the fence now. All the DGA are still alive. Trying to get rid of this IS-6 because I feel like I fear him a little bit more than the T-34 since the T-34 is almost dead. I decided, okay, it's time to take him out. He's dead. If I would have hit that guy in the cheek, that would have went right through, but it drops a little low into the guy's track. So we do still have our arty. Did get hit a little bit right there for no damage because he hit me in the track on the spaced armor right there. So what happened was he hit the spaced armor, it did pen the spaced armor, but then it hit the track and the track absorbed the rest of the damage. Again, that's why it really doesn't pay to hit that spaced armor. So 11 kills for our platoon. Really nice game. Again, showing you how you can be aggressive with the IS-8 if you get tiered at the top, which you should be in a lot of the games because it has special matchmaking. I do think it's worth the gold. I would wait until it goes on sale. They've been having a lot more tier 8 sales lately, the past 6 months or so. So that's what I would do. Anyway, let me know what you think about the IS-6. I actually like it. I used to think it was crap, but with the special matchmaking, it's actually a pretty good tank. So see you guys later.